Now, there is one other thing that I hope never to see again, a government turning its police into almost an occupying force, crushing civil liberties. Victoria's police have lost a lot of public support by being sent even into the homes of pregnant mums, handcuffing them in front of their children for posting about protests against the virus bans. Last Friday, another example of what I thought was petty harassment by police to, well, so it seemed to me, to intimidate protesters. You had hundreds of people demonstrating again against the virus bans, and at that protest was a protest bus that's been driven around by Laurie Pincini, a tour operator. Police went after his bus. He says they inspected it for more than an hour and gave him a defect notice for having this small fraying of a seatbelt, this small cut in one of his tyres, and for an oil leak he says was actually dry in the dirt underneath his bus and wasn't his. Now, I've got to say that to me that looked like punishment for opposing the government and its bans. Police won't comment. Another person who's had enough of these restrictions is Alma Besserdin, the founder and director of Wimmigrants, a group which helps professional female immigrants achieve careers and to integrate. And for that work, she was last year made a Victorian Australia Day Ambassador by Premier Daniel Andrews. But she has now written a letter of resignation to Andrews, saying she feels ashamed to represent a government that is not representing the people, and that after leaving Bosnia and its then civil war, she's now losing her human rights all over again. Joining me now is Alma Besserdin. Alma, thank you so much for your time. What made you resign as a Victorian Australia Day Ambassador?
Well, you just summed it up. I felt I'm back in Bosnia, and I know a lot of people doesn't see it. And a lot of people from Europe, like myself, who actually have gone through this stage of losing our human rights and coming to Australia because of civil wars, we just feel we're actually going back to where we came from. Now, a lot of Australians might not understand that because average Australian, thanks goodness, never had to experience this. So you can't experience something that you don't know or you haven't actually experienced before. But as I was waiting in a queue and listening what we can and can't do, it's all, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And my question is, why can't we do that? What 25 kilometres has to do with the virus?
I got no idea, to be perfectly honest. Apart from the 25k rule, it used to be only 5k, about how far you could leave home.
And curfews.
The curfew, let us not forget the curfew. That was just extraordinary. Allegedly on health advice. In fact, it wasn't. What other things trouble you most about what you've seen in Victoria?
It troubles me that I'm a former lawyer, Andrew, and it's about facts. And I think there is a similarity between the science and the law. So when I talk about law, you are guilty or you are not. You have to prove you are guilty or you don't. I feel nothing is based in science, and I feel there is a lot of speculations. And like every other good citizen in this country and in Victoria, I've done, and my family did, and all our friends have done what we were asked to do because we didn't know what we didn't know in the first couple of months. But in the last couple of months, there is also a lot of research that is coming from international, fantastic doctors and people who really are out there, and Alan Jones talk about them all the time, so I don't need to go back over that list. But nothing is scientific, and I've been waiting to understand why this is happening. So, for example, we all know now that this virus is not as dangerous as we initially thought. So why government is not calibrating the approach? So if we know the virus is survival rate 98.7%, and it's not as dangerous, we could have actually calibrated approach. Why government needs more power? If all of these experts around the world are saying there's no pandemic, why we are forcing all of these bills and legislation to give more power, more restriction? And you were talking about the police. I'm absolutely speechless with police. The last time I saw police like this with a fully, well, they're not fully, they are semi-automated pistols and whatever they have. I've seen that last time in Bosnia, before I left. That was a full-on war equipment. And I'm asking myself, why police needs to be fully equipped like they're going to the war? Now I understand they're going to the war against its own people, and I cannot be part of the government that is representing that.
You're so right. I know they had a job to do. I feel very sorry for them. I don't blame them for having to do it. I blame the people that put them into the field, and I think it's created some damage for their relationship with the public they're meant to serve. Alma Besserdin, I urge people to read your letter. It's very powerful. It's on the internet. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.